Hello, welcome to History Tea Time Chat Live. I'm Philippa Lacey-Brawl, and this week I thought we would, although it's not history related really, but it's probably of interest to most of you, we're going to talk about the news, what's in the news about Charles III and some of the odd speculation that I've seen which has resulted from it. So please feel free, I can see people are already commenting about it, but please feel free as we go along to do that. I am streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Not yet on streaming live on Rumble, but I am over there on Rumble as British History. I will put the link in so you can come and follow me there. And then the more followers I have, the easier it will be to find me because I can get my own URL. Anyway, boring admin stuff. So thank you for being here with me today. And yeah, let's get into this. So Charles III, he's been king for less than 2 years, and obviously this week we've had the worrying news that following um, uh, following treatment for an enlarged prostate, that another issue was identified. That issue has been confirmed as cancer, although we haven't had confirmation as to what type of cancer or the severity of the cancer. And that means that I don't know if that is because they're trying to manage the speculation. Once it's known what sort of cancer, then perhaps the speculation would be all around what is known about that particular cancer. So I can kind of understand why they're not yet confirming anything else. And the king has gone to Sandringham. He went yesterday afternoon and is receiving treatment at home there. So this isn't, he's not hospitalized. He is in his home at Sandringham and yes, and not undertaking any royal duties for now. This is of course on the back of his treatment for the enlarged prostate, but also Catherine Middleton, the Princess of Wales, Prince William's wife, of course, is also off royal duties at the moment following abdominal surgery, which again we haven't had the details of, but sounds like it was serious, and is obviously keeping her off duties. And she's an incredibly hard-working woman, and so we know that if there's a reason, if she's off, then there is most certainly a reason to be off. So we'll get into this in a little bit more in a moment, but I do first of all want to say thank you to Linda, who's become a patron this week. So just before we get into this, just a little heads up, because I've been sent a book this week. We will get into Charles in a minute. But I've been sent this book. Let me show you this, because this is exciting, because it's not out for sale at the moment. It's Nicola Tallis's new book on Elizabeth, young Elizabeth, princess, prisoner, queen, and it looks at her life in the run-up to becoming queen. This book isn't out until the end of February in the UK. I'm not sure when it's out in the rest of the world, but I am interviewing Nicola next week. And if you're a patron, then I've already asked people to submit their questions for Nicola about the young Elizabeth. And if you would like to do so yourself, if you're a member of Patreon, obviously you just need to go along to patreon.com/British History. If you're not yet a member, but you'd like to put forward a question for Nicola, then follow the same link and you can join. It's £5 a month, and there's lots of stuff in there, including articles, extended historian interviews, chance to ask your own questions, and book club, of course. The next book in our book club is The Palace, which is sat behind me here. Gareth Russell's The Palace. So we are meeting in March. I'm trying to think of the date now, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. We will be meeting on the 10th of March to discuss The Palace by Gareth Russell. So if you want all that, then please pop along to patreon.com/British History. Right, let's get back to speaking about Charles then. So yeah, please feel free to comment. I will try and watch all of the comments. I might miss some on Instagram, I'm afraid. Oh, in fact, I might have just lost Instagram totally. Um, so, um, so Charles, as I say, he's we've been told he's got cancer. We don't know what sort. We don't know what stage. We do know he's getting treatment at home, and there is Prince William is back to work today. He's been off following his wife Kate Middleton, Catherine Middleton, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, I suppose I should be saying. Off, she's obviously off after surgery, abdominal surgery, and no, it has not been confirmed as far as I know that what her surgery was. Um, I think we can probably, well, maybe we shouldn't guess, and I certainly wouldn't speculate on air what the surgery was, but it's clearly something that is going to take her a little while to recover from. But William is back to work today, and now it is left to the remaining working royals to cover uh, the the king and queen, presumably. Their royal duties, and I know William is doing one of those things today. One of those things. He's doing a ceremony at Buckingham Palace. I think I've heard lots of speculation. Feel free to stick in the comments if you've heard something that you want me um, to go into, but it's ranged from I've seen articles saying, "Well, who's next in line?" As if it throws open this idea of someone like, "Oh, who's going to take over next?" Like as if it's not already sorted. So uh, we can discuss that. Obviously, we know Harry has been back over, had saw his father for Clarence House for around about half an hour before the king went off to Sandringham. Uh, and so that's got all the tongues wagging about whether there's a reconciliation there or what's going to happen there. So we'll see how that unfolds. It does appear that Harry came over immediately on hearing the news of his father's condition. We'll also see whether he meets with his brother or not, William, while he's over here. Um, it's there is obviously divide within the family. Um, so there's that. Now, obviously, the line of succession is clear. It's clear. It's not going to be a choice. It never was going to be. When the Queen was still alive, people um, uh, were speculating that perhaps when the Queen died, she would pass the throne directly on to William. Now, I don't know if this is a I don't know if this comes from the culture of Pop Idol and all these reality TV shows where we get to vote people in and out. But this was never going to be anything other than the crown passes to the Prince of Wales. And that will be the case as and when that becomes relevant. What we haven't had with what we didn't have with the Queen, and what people are speculating could happen with Charles, is if he really is too poorly to for a long time and to continue with public duties, that he could abdicate. The last abdication we had was Edward VIII, and that, of course, was because he wanted to marry Wallis Simpson, and that led, of course, to the Queen Elizabeth II's father becoming King George VI and set off that line, which we still have with Elizabeth and to Charles, and in the future to William and to George. I think so. Let me see what people are saying. Yeah, I think it's great that they're being more open in terms of bringing some awareness for the conditions they're dealing with. Yes, so we've sort of got a bit of uh, we've got a bit of sort of, it feels like we're in the middle really. We know a little bit, but we don't know the full amount. Sorry, Amanda just said, what about a regency? Actually, sorry, that's where I was going with that. Yes, so excuse me, I don't think he'll abdicate. I think, but there is obviously the option of stepping back and having a regency. Well, he could abdicate. That's an option. But like Manda's suggested there, a regency is also a possibility. What it's highlighted, which is interesting, is how many working royals there are, or how few working royals there are. And I thought I'm going to tell you who the working royals are, because some of them I wasn't even really too much aware of their work and who they are. Melissa says, I hope the king recovers fully and goes into remission. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. We all do. I mean, the king is 75. He's the eldest heir to gain the crown ever in history. Because the queen had got to 96. And Charles had been Prince of Wales since the age of 4. So for 71 years, the heir to the throne anyway. His mother became queen when he was 4. He was obviously became Prince of Wales in officially a little bit later. But he's the oldest monarch to have been crowned. And in with the Queen reigning for that long and dying at 96, she's the longest reigning monarch ever. So I've written this down because I thought you might be interested. So our Queen Elizabeth reigned for 70 years and 214 days, so very nearly 71 years. And the next was Queen Victoria. She reigned for over 63 years, followed by George III, who reigned for 59. James VI of Scotland, so his Scottish reigns 57 years, and Henry III 56 years. Which means that we're used to, in this country and any country that sort of is affiliated with Britain, the stability of having, well, specifically actually of having Elizabeth II, the stability of having a monarch, and her husband, of course, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. He was 99 when he died in 2020. Certainly the funeral was a restricted funeral with the pandemic going on. But we also, so it's not just the Queen we were used to and Prince Philip, but the Queen's mother lived to 101. And so there's longevity in that family, at least in the older generation. Sorry, Melissa, yes, I mean in Britain. Yes, Louis the 14th, 72 years, but yeah, French, not one of us. Yes, Edward III was 50 years, and the next one was Elizabeth I at 44 years. There you go. I did write a few more down as well. But it gives us the impression of this longevity, and it's quite a shock, therefore, that less than 2 years into a reign, we could be looking at a change again in some way, shape, or form. And we obviously really hope that we don't have to see one very soon at all. And with the longevity of his parents and his grandparents, both his maternal grandmothers lived long lives. 101, like I say, for Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Prince Philip's mother lived to 84, and sort of just expect them all to live that long. And we really, really hope that that he makes a full recovery and that returns to duties, and we have him as our king for a very long time to come. Like I say, so William is back on duty, but I thought you might find this interesting to talk about the working royals. There are, as far as I can tell from the website, 10 working royals, and that was something that the royal family did very purposefully, is slim down. They did not want to give the impression that you have um, a huge royal family all taking uh, sort of money out of the public purse. And so actually, a lot of the Queen's grandchildren are independent in terms of their income from the from the royal family. They're not working royals, so they don't have working royal duties either in that case. So the 10 working royals are the king and queen, of course, who are currently going to be out of action. I don't know if the queen is going to be undertaking anything. William, who is Prince of Wales, who I say went back to duties today. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, who is currently recovering after abdominal surgery. Anne, Princess Anne. I mean, she's amazing. I love Princess Anne. Princess Anne is probably the hardest working royal ever. And I say that because so many people have seen her, and yet you hardly hear about her doing stuff. She's just boom, 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 boom. She's all right. She is 73 years old. Then you've got Edward and Sophie, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. Edward's 59. They're still on duty. They're still doing royal duties. His Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester and Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Gloucester are in their late 70s. They're still doing duties. And Princess Alexandra, who is 87 and still doing duties. So that's the list of working royals. And what you might notice from that is there is nobody under the age of 40 or whatever William is, 41. 40, 41. There is nobody under the age of 41 who is a working royal, and most of them are in their 70s. So or more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them of the 10 are in their 70s or 80s. Now, are all of you aware who Richard, Duke of Gloucester, His Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester, or Princess Alexandra were? Because I have to admit, I wasn't quite sure. So I have looked them up so that if you want to know, I can fill you in and you can feel very clever. Or you may already know. But so the Duke of Gloucester, His Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester, is the son of Henry, Duke of Gloucester, who was the son of George V. So basically, he's a grandchild of George V. Princess Alexandra is a granddaughter of George V as well, via George, Duke of Kent. So they're basically the Queen's cousins. So that's how come they're working royals. But yes, it's interesting. It's the older generation, and we're sort of missing. We've got a bit of a gap now because people like Princess Beatrice, Eugenie, I think is the Queen. How the Queen used to pronounce it. Do earn their own livings outside of the royal family. They are not working royals. Of course, we don't have Harry and Meghan. They are no longer working royals either by choice. And so the slimmed down working royal family is slim, and with 2 or 3 of them out at the moment, Queen Camilla, I'm assuming, being with King Charles full time while he's getting his treatment, then it suddenly looks very, very thin on the ground for working royals. Yes, of course, Maria. No Prince Andrew either. Yes. So, and the Wessexes, or now the Edinburghs, children weren't on the list of working royals either. I think they're old enough to do that now. I'm trying to think how old they are. They must be. They're in their 20s now. So that's obviously something that we will keep an eye on. We don't normally do current royals because it's not history, but I thought that probably it would be something that people are quite interested in and looking for news on, seeing as it's so fresh, unfortunately, and it's only just been announced. I was going to look at uh, looking at how long are the people's reigns, and I thought, no, that could send me down a wormhole. Um, so we're probably not going to be on long today, unless you want me to talk about anything particular, um, anything else particular. But I will let you know next week when I'm back. Maria says, does cancer run in the royal family? Not that I'm aware of. Um, well, George the Sixth had cancer, had lung cancer, but he smoked a lot. So if you're talking a sort of genetic or hereditary sort of predisposition for cancer, don't know, don't know. Certainly the Queen, Prince Philip, and um, their, I mean, the people I've just said there, the Duke of Gloucester and Princess Alexandra, were still working in their 70s and 80s. The Queen Mother, 101. You know, there seems to be there's certainly some robustness in the royal family's health as well. And the King is 75 also, so he's perhaps a bit older than maybe you'd think on first glance. Pippa Middleton, someone suggested, no, she's not a royal. And like I said, the royal family was very keen to make sure that they didn't look like they had an army of family out there on the public purse. It was a conscious decision for many of the royals to, so basically the Queen's grandchildren, other than those in the direct line of succession, that they wouldn't be what are termed working royals. Now, obviously, Harry was and decided not to be. So, and obviously him and Meghan, so that took two potentials out of the equation as well. I've mentioned the book, so let me remind you I'm going to tell you about what I'm doing next week as well. So because next Wednesday, Diane says the Duke of Windsor died of cancer. I don't know. See, I mean, cancer is such a wide ranging, who knows. So next Wednesday, I am interviewing Nicola Tallis about young Elizabeth, about her new book that's out. So if you've got a question about young Elizabeth and you want to submit it, please do that via my Patreon. Manda, why does everyone seem to hate Meghan? Don't know. But she's certainly not a working royal by choice. So that's the relevance to today. Pippa is still the Princess of Wales' sister. She is, but she's not the royal family. So she can't be a working royal. And certainly that would look like an appendage. If the current king's nieces and nephews are not going to be working royals, then someone not of the blood royal also can't do that. Next week, like I say, I'll be doing my interview with Nicola Tallis, and that will be out a couple of weeks after that. And in between then and now, I am going to be going down to London. I'm interviewing Kate Clements, who's the curator at the Churchill War Rooms. So that will be another interview out soon. And I'm also going to go and look at this Holbein exhibition at Buckingham Palace. So next week, I'll be able to tell you all about that. And I'm also going to the Papyrus event, which Nicola Tallis, in fact, is organising, or has organised at Southwark Cathedral, which is a night of historians talking, and it's to raise money for the Papyrus charity, which is a youth suicide prevention charity. So an amazing cause, and really looking forward to that. I can't remember how many historians there are speaking. It's got to be at least 10. Looks like an amazing program. So next week I'll be able to tell you all about that, and I will also write more about that in my free Substack as well. So you can sign up to that at philippaB.substack.com. Anaga, it's nothing to do with that. about Meghan? No, it absolutely is not. Maria, the tickets for the Papyrus event, yes, I believe there are. Trying to think. If you go to Nicola Tallis's Instagram or Facebook, she is historian Nicola historian or historian Nicola, and she will have a link to the event. So that would be it's just going to be amazing. But like I say, I will let you all know as well if you can't make that, just how it went. And I'm sure that all the speakers and people who are attending will be sharing things from it. Um, yeah. So anyway, yes, Anaga, it's just a matter of convention. A sister to a queen is not the royal family. I mean, pretty close, but it's not. She's not blood royal. Okay. Mm. Um. Right. No, but that's because that's what you've been told, Anaga. It's up to you whether you believe it or not. I'm telling you, it's not true. So, anyway, this is probably why I don't go into modern. I don't normally go into modern stuff because this is getting a little bit political in the chat. So I'm going to leave it there. And I will be back tonight for History After Dark. We are reviewing the last 4 candidates. We're doing history heroes this year. And we are discussing the first 4. So who did we do? Anne of Cleves, Boudica, Capability Brown, and Charles Darwin. So we'll be talking about that. We're reviewing them tonight and scoring them, ready to go into the league table of history's heroes. And if you can join us on History After Dark, we're on YouTube as I think it's _history_after_dark. But if you look up History After Dark, you should be able to find us. And audience participation is the name of the game tonight, because we're going to be asking you to put in your score for a particular part of the scoring system, which I will get my head around and explain later as well. Okay, right. So before I go though, because scrolling along the bottom is the address to get Stuart's tickets. So our spring online history festival is on the Stuarts. We did a Stuarts online history festival. The first one I think we did was the Stuarts, and it was so popular that we brought them back. And we have some brilliant speakers. I am actually going to do a talk on this one. I'm going to speak about the gunpowder plot and the context of it, the oppression that happened, the reason for this what was then badged as this treason, it was high treason, but why that happened and all the different factors that come into it. It's absolutely fascinating. Julian Humphreys will be talking about Charles II's escape after the Battle of Worcester, which when you sort of hear the story, it's like there was a Battle of Worcester, the royals lost, and Charles skedaddled off to France. His escape was by no means straightforward. It's absolutely incredible, the story. Julian Humphreys will be talking about that. Andrea Zukovic. I never say your name out loud, Andrea, and I really must do. I will. So she'll be talking about royal mistresses at the Stuart court. Dr. Alice Hunt is talking about Cromwell and the Republic. Fascinating. Remember, this is 11 years without a monarchy. What happened? So who else? We've got me, Julian, Andrea, Alice, Katie Wignall, who there's a book behind me, you can't see it. She wrote a book called Abandoned London. She's a incredible blue badge guide. Look her up at Look Up London on Instagram. She is doing a talk on the Great Fire of London. And then we have Gareth Russell, my favorite, my colleague, my friend, the most brilliant historian. He is going to be talking about Anna of Denmark. So James VI of Scotland's, first of England's wife. Incredible character. So those are the talks for the Stuarts Online History Summit, Online History Festival, which includes the talks, includes a live Q&A on the Sunday evening. And don't worry if you can't make the event live, because there is 3 months, I think it's to the end of May, yes, that you can access those talks as part of your ticket. And not only that, but you can add on a bundle if you want to of the previous History Festival talks. So if you missed the original Stuarts, or you missed the Georgians, or you missed the Tudors, then you can add that onto your ticket and you have instant access to all of the talks and recordings of the live events as well from those history festivals. So yes, it will be good. Silkworm and Cottontails. Yeah, it should. The last. This is our fourth one. And just as a heads up, the autumn one this year will be on the Victorians. So yeah, we've got a great lineup. The tickets are £21.50. If you are, I don't know what that'll be in your. That should automatically change to your local currency. So I don't know what that would be where you are. If you're a patron, though, remember you get, if you follow the link from the post in my Patreon, then you get tickets for £18. So another benefit of being a patron. Remember, that's patreon.com/British history. Thank you ever so much for watching, everyone. Thank you if you're watching on the catch up, and if you're listening on the podcast too. Very much appreciate your support. So next week we'll be back with history. I will be avoiding current affairs from this point on, as is my usual. So thank you all so much. Hopefully I'll see you tonight for History After Dark. Otherwise, I will see you next week. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.